want to start off asking this very important question to Sean Mapes behind the glass. Sean, how many dates does it normally take someone to get where they want to go, if you will?
I like how you're doing the Family Feud style euphemism.
This is a family show, Sean.
To make whoopee, how many dates does it take?
Right. I mean, I'm not a savage. I'm not going to ask you how many dates does it take for you to bang someone. No, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that.
I'm
wouldn't
classy.
say that.
Right. How many, and this is not for you, for me. I mean, what is the cultural norm supposed to be for, shacking up?
I think the cultural norm is the third date.
That's what I believe as well. It takes time to build trust. Or at least it should. I ask that question because let's not give it up for Dana Brown so easily. Can we have a few more dates? Dana Brown, the new general manager of the Houston Astros, has been here, what, a month? And thus far, we do have something to celebrate. The contract that he just signed Christian Javier to is really impressive. Yesterday, at a press conference, Dana Brown announced said contract.
We are really excited. The fan base, we know how important it is to get the innings. And I like to thank, first of all, his family for being here, mom and dad, friends and families, the agents, and most of all his teammates that are here to support him. And hopefully some of those guys will be sitting right here locking them up as well. So I'd like to announce that we got the signing done, 5-year contract to my man, Primo, Christian Javier, my man.
It's a moment to celebrate. It's a good contract for the Astros. It's a good contract for Christian Javier at this point right now. We'll see if he is able to earn that spot. But again, to go back to this question that I have for you, it's making me a little bit concerned with you people. And by you people, I mean Astros fans. Because I ask this question. Do you trust Dana Brown? I threw it out on Twitter. Gallant says, I figured most of you guys would say yes because a month on the job, you're hearing great things. And, of course, you have one piece of action to judge Brown off of, the Christian Javier deal. But when I threw that question out on Twitter, I did not think that 92.8% of you with 125 votes and counting would say, yes, you trust Dana Brown. And I go back to how many dates does it take you to get where you need to be? Maybe you are somebody who trusts easily. You clearly trust Dana Brown a lot right now, and he's saying the right things, but don't we need to see some action? Are we hook, line, and sinker for this guy already? There was an interesting tweet by Chandler Rome yesterday. He said, Dana Brown just revealed more information in 9 minutes than his two predecessors did in my 6 years here. Refreshing. I hope it continues. Some of the things he said. Rafael Montero's having visa issues. He's not going to report to spring training on time. Dana Brown also said that he has talked to Kyle Tucker's agent, Casey Close, and believes, quote, there are no hard feelings between the two post-arbitration hearing. And then he said this, which does have me feeling like I'm being sold something by a politician. He had this to say about Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman's long-term statuses in Houston.
New on that front, with Bregman and Altuve, I just made it clear to them, and then there's some communication with Scott Boras, because he has both players, that, hey, you know what, these guys should retire here, they should be Houston's for life, man, because we think and value their abilities. We think Altuve has still got some gas in the tank, and of course, Bregman, he's still pretty good. So we're trying to sustain the winning, and it's just going to tell guys we're going to get done sooner and then some guys we're going to have to wait, but we are constantly in communication to try to make sure that we get these players secured.
I love hearing all of those things. I think everyone who is an Astros fan would like to see both Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman finish their careers with the Stros. But to go back to Chandler's point about transparency, just remember this whenever anyone's in front of a press conference, because I want to believe Dana Brown, and I'm not accusing him of being a liar here. Any transparency that a general manager gives you is supposed to make the people hearing it feel good, because they're not going to reveal anything bad unless it serves a purpose to them, unless it creates some sort of leverage. Or perhaps unless it creates some sort of market for somebody that they're trying to maybe move on from. Transparency is always done with a caveat. And in this situation, I think we got to slow our roll when it comes to trusting Dana Brown implicitly. I thought about this after the show yesterday with Sean Mapes when we were talking about what we're going to discuss on Friday's show. Do we have more faith in Dana Brown already than the other general managers in town? And I think a lot of people would go even further than saying, yes, they already trust Dana Brown a month on the job. They would say yes. Is that fair? Honestly, I leave that up to you. Is it wise? I tend to believe no. And I don't want this to sound like I'm dumping on Dana Brown or like I am zagging here. He is saying all the right things. Great. But you got to do them. That's all. You got to actually do the right things. Otherwise, are you any different than this famous politician who really was feeling good about himself back in 2004?
We're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Ah!
Ah! Now, Dana Brown's not quite there, but a lot of you guys are feeding into him hook, line, and sinker as if he is giving you that. And I mean, you know ball, you watch the Astros. By default, you know more about baseball than anyone across the country. At least that's what you can say to other people, even if you don't actually do. I watch this team every single night. I actually know what good baseball is. It's fun to do that. But don't stop being skeptical all of a sudden. And I'm sorry to sound like Aaron Rodgers, but I got to say, this has not been a good first month and a half when it comes to smart sports fans in Houston. It hasn't. It just has not. The Houston Texans are a garbage organization. They hired D'Amico Ryans. Oh, wait, they're not anymore. The Houston Astros, I'm not really sure what's going on with Jim Crane and the future of this organization, with Jeff Bagwell and Reggie Jackson having as much input. Oh, Dana Brown's here, and he's saying all the right things? Oh, my bad. I'm 100% back. Where's the skepticism? One of our friends of the show, Todd the Show, on Twitch was essentially saying about Chandler Rome, Chandler's taking the L on some of the stuff that he has put out there, I guess, about the future of some Astros. Is he? You're hearing things from Dana Brown. It's not action. I would point specifically to saying he talked to Kyle Tucker's agent, Casey Close, and believes there's no hard feelings between the two post the arbitration hearing. BS! Are you kidding? It's $2.5 million that they fought over. And even if Kyle Tucker says all the right things, if you were in his shoes and you had the World Series that he had, and you had the season before that he had, would you be happy about the Astros stiffing you on $2.5 million? Publicly, maybe not. If you're his agent, would you feel good about that? Hell no. So you're just going to believe what Dana Brown has to say on it? There's two sides to every single story. So, look, I like what Dana Brown's done this far. The Christian Javier deal is good. But it's been a month, and you guys trust him already. Are you really giving it up that easily? Come on. I think we're better than this. Couple of comments on the Twitch. Todd the Show, who is here, says Chandler did take an L. King of Twitch said Chandler and Evan Drellick are perpetual losers. Guys, they're just reporting the information that they have in front of them. And, okay, If an agent is saying that the Astros did not seriously approach Framber Valdez with negotiations for a $150 million contract that will be signed by opening day, you should put some stock into what the agent said, even if Dana Brown is saying otherwise. Anything said in front of a microphone at a podium, are you just going to buy it hook, line, and sinker every single time when it's a general manager? Why would they be transparent? You got to think about that. And it does feel like this is an entirely new PR ploy by the Astros. Maybe it's because of the way that James Click and Jeff Luhnow were, where they kept everything close to the vest. It's certainly going to make a lot of people happy. I get some politician vibes out of it with Dana Brown. Not to say I don't believe him. I'm just saying, can we wait a little bit to trust him implicitly?
Why I trust Dana Brown is that, and you didn't hear it on the clip that we played, but when he first walked up, he put his right hand up and his left hand on the Bible, and he swore an oath to tell the truth. And so there's no spin going on. This is Dana Brown's telling 100% the truth, even if it doesn't, if it doesn't compensate, if it doesn't make his job any easier, he'll just always tell the truth. Because that's what people do in press conferences. Always tell the truth.
No one has ever lied in a sports press conference.
Why would they?
They're only going to tell you things they want you to hear, and they're not going to tell you the things you don't want to hear. The Yuli Gurriel thing, which he, I think, basically said, yeah, we're probably going to move on from Yuli Gurriel. I'm, of course, paraphrasing a bit there. But some people maybe didn't want to hear it, but okay, there is a little bit of honesty going on, perhaps. I'm just saying, you guys are buying in hook, line, and sinker so quickly. Let's be a little more cautious stepping into this. Do you believe everything's great right away? You can have hope, as someone brought up on Twitch on the text line, but I feel like we're smarter than this. We're a little more skeptical than this. 92.8% of you already trust Dana Brown. Eric the Driver had a point on the text line, 713-780-3776. It's not just what he's done in Houston, but what he did in Atlanta as well. The Braves are a juggernaut of an organization, and Brown was a major part in building them. We trust him because he has the history to back up what he says. He can still lose the trust, but as of now, I trust him. Okay, that's fine. But you're trusting him after a month. And he is saying things that somebody will say to make people like him, which is what politicians do. It's not like I think he's full of it. I'm just saying it's early and we need to see the actual action. You want to extend Altuve and Bregman? Do it. You want to give Kyle Tucker a long-term contract? Do it. You want to give Framber Valdez a long-term contract? Do it. We want this, we want that. Yeah, you want it done, but you want it done at your terms, while those players want it at their terms. And when you put stuff out there like this, you do start to create public support for the organization versus the player. That's just how it works. It's a smart ploy. But when someone says aloud, yeah, we're starting conversations with the player, and the player is perhaps digging his heels in, some people may start to believe that said player is being greedy. This is negotiating one-on-one in sports. And the players will sometimes feel guilty about it. And perhaps they will be less of a hardliner where their agent maybe feels otherwise. We're talking about other people's money here, but this is how it works, guys. If you're buying everything that somebody says in front of a microphone, hook, line, and sinker, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just saying, let's like give it 4 or 5 dates before we go to Boomtown. You know?
I also think that just the fact that Dana Brown got hired by the Astros gives him more credibility than anyone that the Rockets hire, any GM that the Rockets hire, any GM that the Texans hire. Just because, hey, the last 2 guys that Jim Crane has hired to run his baseball team have won World Series.
Yep, they have. Jeff Luhnow obviously deserves a lot more credit than James Click does, but
he still won.
Still won one, right? And I don't think he did a bad job. I don't think he did a good job either. I think he did a job. There are some good things that James Click did along the way, but I feel like there's some more things that he could have potentially done over the last couple of years too.
Yeah, James Click also inherited already a really good team. Dana Brown inheriting already a really good team.
Mm-hmm. This is what I'm curious about with what Dana Brown's saying. Has Jim Crane told him, bleep it, we are just going to burn it all down on this perhaps once-in-a-generation team. And I do think that there is credence to the idea that someone who's once played baseball, who has the thrill of being in charge of an all-time in its sports team, is perhaps going to realize, you know what? I'm at a certain age. How old is Jim Crane? Is he in his late 60s? Early 70s, I'm not 100% sure. What I do know is that someone who's perhaps played a sport, though, and is in a position like this is probably going to think to himself, I am going to spend all of the money I possibly can on the right here and the right now. And maybe that's what Dana Brown is telling us. But it's a maybe. We don't know that 100%. It would be great if that were the case. It really would be. And that would be consistent with Brown and what he's saying about Altuve's future and Alex Bregman's future. But, again, can we keep it in our pants? It's been a month. You guys trust him already because he's saying the right things at a press conference. I'm not saying doubt him. I'm just saying let's see him do things before he gets that trust. We're throwing our trust out right now here in Houston a little bit whorishly, sluttily, whatever you want to say. We're going in too quick. D'Amico Ryans and Dana Brown. Excitement for both. Brown's really qualified. Ryans is really qualified, and he's played here before. But settle the bleep down. That's all I'm saying.
I would be interested in, we can't just do a revised poll, but one that is, do you trust Dana Brown? Yes, no. Too early to tell. Because I can see why people aren't ready to go, I don't trust Dana Brown. Because he does have a good resume, and he's very qualified, and by being an Astros GM, you already have an air of legitimacy to you. And also, the first move you do is bring back one of the
guy
city's
who's
favorites.
going to be awesome, to a very team-friendly deal. The first thing he did is great.
It's not a layup like it's easy to do, but it is like boom, got points on the board already. So I would be interested to see if the percentage of people that are like, it's too early to tell, not just yes or no.
Right. You can say that without saying yes or no. Maybe I should have asked that as an off.
That's what I'm
an
saying.
Answer.
There probably should have been a third thing.
Perhaps. Still, 92%. That was the vibe I got. Was like everyone's just all in, and I did not think it would be 92% of people saying yes. Todd the Show comments twitch.tv/ESPN975. Paul, didn't you slob all over the D'Amico Ryans press conference? Now you aren't excited for an actual winning organization. Well, there's different standards. For the Texans, it is at rock bottom, and you needed someone to get you excited. Like, legitimately, that's where it starts because there's just so much indifference towards that team. Deserved indifference. They have gone out of their way to piss everyone off unintentionally. Imagine being that kind of person. You don't even know you're going out of your way to do it. They finally realize it. But I did say it's just a press conference. And there's nothing that we could go off of in that press conference to determine whether or not D'Amico Ryans is a good head coach. I just feel better. With Dana Brown, I feel good. I just think some of you guys are just giving it up too easy.